Hey everyone, and welcome back to Learning Power BI and Accessible Design. If you're new here, I am Juliana Smith, and I share insights on creating inclusive, user-friendly Power BI reports that don't just look great, they work for everyone. In today's video, we are building an accessible risk matrix using only Power BI's native visuals, so no custom visuals needed. We will focus on clear formatting, high contrast, and a structured layout to ensure your reports are easy to interpret and accessible. If you have been following my Smart Frames blog, you might have seen my two-part series where I walk through the data model setup and how to build the dimension table needed for this risk matrix. If you have missed those, I highly recommend checking them out first. The links are in the video description. So now let's jump into Power BI and bring the risk matrix to life. So here we are, we have Power BI open, and just a taster to what's coming. We're gonna use a matrix, and from this, on the top, we're gonna format so it looks like the one on the bottom. That is our risk matrix. So let's get started. First, I'm gonna add, from the visualizations, I'm gonna add a matrix. And then we have to add the rows, columns, and values. So the rows we're going to pull from the dimension table. We created a column called row likelihood. So I'm going to use it under the rows. And then for the field that we're going to use under the columns is going to be the column severity. Again, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, have a look on my blog and we'll explain it. And then under values, we need to create a measure that counts all the risks that are in our facts table, which contain the risk data. And it's just count rows, but I'm going to add +0 at the end because this is going to be very important when we are formatting the color. So I'm just going to drag it to my values. There we go. We have our initial matrix, and let's now format it to make sure it looks like a risk matrix. So under the formatting pane, the first thing we're going to do on the layout, the style, we're going to change to none. Then we need the grid. So we're going to enable the horizontal grid lines, change the color to black. And we do the same for the vertical grid lines. We also enable and put the color to black. Then we need to set up the borders. So first, for the column headers, let's change the color to black. And we're going to enable the top, left, and right, the bottom. And then if we go to the row headers, we need to change the color to black as well. And we're going to enable all of them. And then finally, if we go to the values section, we're going to change the color to black. And we're going to enable the top, the bottom, and the right. So now it has a tabular format that we need. So next, we need to disable the column subtotals as well as the row subtotals. So we're just going to go here and switch them off. Now we need to format the font size. So first, let's do it for the values. I'm going to use, 16. Then we go to the column headers. I'm going to change the column. I'm going to make it black. I'm also going to use 16. And then under the row headers, I'm going to change the color to black. I'm also going to use 16. So let's just change the size here. And then let's align the values. So if you go to a specific column and the alignment, we put it central. Let's do the same for the column headers as well. And the alignment to be in the center. So now it looks more like what we need, and we need to think about the colors. So a traditional risk matrix use RAG color, so shades of red, amber, and green. And we know that these colors can cause accessibility issues, especially for those who are colorblind. So for that, I'm going to use different colors. I use the Adobe Color Blindness Simulator to choose these colors. So if I'm going to show you here, so I'm going to use, instead of the right colors, I'm going to use a dark blue, a light blue, a gray, and orange. And the way that these risk matrix will work is that for risk score, the risk score is calculated by multiplying the severity by the likelihood. So when my risk score is equal or below to 3, that is going to be a dark blue. If the risk score is between 3 and 6, then it's going to be a light blue. And if my risk score is between 6 and 12, it's going to be a gray. And finally, if my risk score is above 12, it's going to be orange. So after choosing my background colors, I also need to use the color contrast checker to know which font color I can use on the top, because you're going to have the values of our matrix. So I also use the Adore one, and for these specific colors, you can see here, only the dark blue will ask a white text, and all the others we're going to use a black text. So let's work on it. So it is our risk. I'm going to select it. I'm going to cell elements. And on the cell elements, I'm going to enable background color. And I'm going to format. The style should be based on rule. And the field is not the counter risk. The field that we're going to use is the risk score. So I need to change here on the all data. And I'm going to use the risk score that is on my dimension table. And on the summarization, I do not want the count. I want the sum. So I'm going to change it to sum. So now I can add my rules. So if it's, let's say, less or equal to 3, it should be dark blue. And then if it's greater than 3, less than 6, it has to be light blue. And then if it's greater than 6, less or equal to 12, it's going to be gray. And finally, if it's greater than 12, it's going to be orange. So to format my font color, I also need to go to cell elements, and then I need to enable font color. Under style, I want rules. And the rules will not be based on the counter risk. So the same way that we did for the background color, we want these to be based on the risk score. And under summarization, we do not want the count. We want the sum as well. So because only when the risk score is less or equal to 3, that we have a dark background, that's the only condition when we need to have a white text. And then when for all the other background colors, which means that the risk score is going to be greater than 3, they will have black text. So based on that, I'm going to create my rule that if the risk score is less or equal to 3, I want white text. And then if my value is greater than 3, I want a black text. There we go. So now that we have our matrix with the correct background colors and the correct font color, we need to adjust the width. So we can do that manually. Just try to make them look about roughly the same. So after we adjust the column width, we have to make sure that it will not change when other selections on the screen we made. And to do that, we need to go to column headers. And under options, we have auto size width. We need to toggle off. We need to disable it. So now this is ready to be used. The good thing about this method, it's not only because we use a native visual, but it will also be interactive with other elements on our page. So I have here an example where we have a couple of slices, one for project and another one for WBS. If I make a selection in any one of them, my risk matrix will filter accordingly. And the same if we do the other way around. So if we find a cell in my risk matrix, so here says 4, if I click on it, the other visuals will filter accordingly. So, for example, I had another risk. So, for example, I have another matrix that has got the details for the risk, and I know which 4 risks are on that specific cell. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you like it, and that from now on, you're going to try to use Accessible Risk Matrix. It's goodbye from me now, and see you on the next video.